Welcome to the Dingleberry Farm Homestead channel. Today, I'd like to talk about battery cycles on my EG4 LifePo4 batteries. I became interested in this topic when I noticed that my batteries were displaying a much higher cycle count than I expected, cycles being the how many times a day they discharge and recharge. In my 2.5 months of operation, I'm seeing cycle counts of over 150. While these numbers do concern me, I do want to mention that my batteries have been working flawlessly in operation. If you own a solar system that uses LifePo4 batteries, or you're considering purchasing one, you've almost certainly come across the term deep cycles. Typically, these cycles describe how many times you can discharge the battery and recharge it before your battery capacity falls to a certain level, typically 80%. The beauty of using LifePo4 batteries is that you can often cycle your batteries many thousands of times before you hit this metric. Even then, your batteries still work, their capacity is simply lower than it was before. Let's say you have a brand new battery that can store 100 amps and it's rated at 7,000 deep cycles. In theory, after 7,000 cycles, your batteries still function, but it can now only store 80 amps. In this video, I'm going to discuss the battery I purchased with my off-grid solar system. They're EG4 LLS 48 volt 100 amp lithium iron phosphate batteries, often referred to as LifePo4. For marketing materials, advertise a rating of 7,000 deep cycles. Here's where things get interesting and is the crux of my question. What is a deep cycle? How is it measured? How does it affect performance? Does it have anything to do with its warranty? I started looking into this after noting that my battery cycles, as reported by the EG4 monitoring software, didn't make sense. I have 3 batteries, which adds up to 15,360 watts of storage. Over a period of 77 days, I discharged them a total of 652,000 watts, or about 8,500 watts a day. That works out to a discharge rate of 55% per day. One would imagine that you can't charge more than you've discharged, so we're looking at just over 1/2 cycle a day. If we're using 100% discharge recharge to describe a deep cycle, my cycle count should be about 42, which is 77 days times a rate of 55%. Instead, my cycle count was 158, which is almost 4 times what it should have been. Several weeks ago, I saw a thread on the DIY Solar Forum where EG4 stated that a discharge cycle was considered to be an 80% discharge and recharge, not 100. That alters the math a bit, but I should still be seeing a cycle count of just over 50, not 158. I read quite a few other posts about what makes a cycle, and all it did was muddy the water. When you're talking to the manufacturer, their description is way more complicated than I can get into here. Bottom line is they control things like temperature, how deeply a battery is discharged, how long the battery sits at a particular level, and how fast the battery is charged and discharged. They take all this magic and come up with a number they use for marketing purposes. You can't really look behind the curtain here, so all you have to work with is their magic number. However, this number is touted by every company that sells these batteries. Look at almost any web page or advertisement, and the deep cycle count is usually be the first or second thing they mention. You get the impression that it's a little like how many miles you should expect to get when buying a new car. I looked at 5 of the most popular 48 volt batteries online, and all listed deep cycle capabilities of 5,000, 6,000, or 7,000 cycles. If they're going to brag about this number, it must have meaning. In my case, my batteries appear to be cycling on average twice a day, according to the EG4 software. EG4 says this cycle count comes directly from the BMS built into the batteries. At this rate, I'll hit 7,000 cycles in 9.5 years, way before the 15-year lifespan advertised by EG4. If this count was using my actual cycle rate of 55% per day, I wouldn't hit 7,000 cycles for 35 years. That's a huge difference between 9 and 35 years. On the DIY Solar Forum, EG4 noted that this cycle count does not come into play when it regards for warranty. As such, they said it didn't matter what my cycle count was. I pushed back and noted again that every manufacturer and reseller touts this number. Many people, including myself, could be using this information when making a purchasing decision. I asked a simple question. Will my batteries likely last 9 years or 35 years, regardless of warranty? I never got an answer to that. So here we are. Do cycles matter? Well, they do to me. I will note that just before I started working on this video, EG4 came back and posted that they believe that there is an issue with the firmware and that their team is working on an update that will correct these calculations, that specifically being on the LLS batteries that I have. I'll be waiting with bated breath. Please note that while I have questions on this deep cycle issue, my batteries have been working flawlessly as noted up front. I use them along with an EG4 6000 XP inverter that's also been working flawlessly. I purchased my system from Signature Solar back in December when their Black Friday sales were active. The system arrived much quicker than I expected and was in great shape. I've called them a few times with some minor questions, and they've been very helpful. I'm happy with my purchase, happy with EG4, and happy with Signature Solar. If you're looking to buy any solar equipment in the future, check out the links in my description below. You can get $50 off any purchase from Signature Solar when buying at least $500 worth of equipment. If you like this video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe. YouTube views along with the likes and subscribes mean more people will see this and my other videos. Thanks, and have a great day.